Hey there, I'm CRIDER from Investing Simple. In today's video, we're providing an in-depth look at whether or not you can cash out your 401k without leaving your job. When it comes to whether or not you can get cash out of your 401k plan without leaving your job, in most cases, the answer is going to be yes, this is something you can do, but it's likely going to vary based on your individual plan structure, and you're likely going to have to do some searching through your overly complicated plan documents in order to figure out exactly how it works for your plan in particular. But in this video, I'm going to show you the two most popular ways that you can take money out of your plan so that you know what to look for when you are talking to your HR department about potentially getting money out of your 401k. So these two methods are 401k loans and in-service withdrawals. So let's start off by talking about 401k loan. Now, essentially what you're doing with a 401k loan is you are borrowing money from yourself. So from your particular 401k plan, you're gonna be borrowing money from that and then paying yourself back over time. Now, in general, this isn't a great idea because what it does is it significantly slows down your 401k's growth, okay? Because if you have, say you've got $50,000 in your 401k, you take half of that out, your account's not only growing half as fast, and you're having to pay back interest on top of the money that you took out. So in general, this is gonna really slow down your growth over time, especially if you're early in your career. This can put a big dent in your potential future retirement earnings that you could use to retire sooner. But that being said, let's talk about the rules of 401k loans. So in general, you're going to be limited to the lesser of 50% of your account balance or $50,000. So $50,000 is kind of the cap there in most cases, but if you have less than $100,000 in your account, then you're going to be limited to 50% of your account balance. However, the recent CARES Act raised the limit temporarily to $100,000 or 100% of your account balance. So in that case, you're potentially able to take twice as much from your 401k plan as a loan due to the current pandemic that is going on right now. So this could be a decent way for you to get by if you're really struggling right now, but in general, this is not going to be a great route for you to go down because, like I said, it's going to significantly impair your ability to retire eventually. So you're kind of making this trade-off of like short-term money at the expense of not being able to retire as soon, but having to kick that can down the line multiple years because you are taking this loan out. Now, you're typically going to have 5 years to repay this loan, and you're going to be on a pretty strict schedule that you're going to want to stick to, because if you vary from this schedule, if you don't meet this schedule, what's going to happen is that that loan that you took out is going to be treated as a distribution. And when you take an early distribution from your 401k plan before you are 59 and a half years old, what's going to happen is you're going to get taxes and you're going to get penalties on that withdrawal. And that's because when you're putting money into your 401k, you're doing that before it is taxed. So if you take money out, that money's got to get taxed. So it's going to be taxed as if it was ordinary income. So this could potentially bump you up a tax bracket or two, depending on how much money you took as this 401k loan. And you're also likely going to be hit with a 10% penalty on top of those taxes. So this could potentially be tens of thousands of dollars in taxes and penalties if you do not stick to that schedule and pay this thing off as you are supposed to. Additionally, if you do end up leaving your job or you are fired while you have a 401k loan outstanding, what's likely going to happen is that loan is probably going to become due immediately, and you have to pay that loan off immediately, or it's going to be treated as a distribution. Like I said, you're facing taxes and penalties if that happens, likely in the thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how much you took as a loan here. So this can get pretty dangerous if you do end up leaving your job while this loan is outstanding. In most cases, when that happens, people actually don't pay the thing off because they don't have the cash on hand, and it ends up getting treated as a distribution. You get significant taxes and penalties, and that really slows down your retirement earnings and growth over time. So that's 401k loans in a nutshell. Your second option is going to be in-service withdrawals. And while many plans do offer these, the individual terms of your in-service withdrawals are likely going to vary from plan to plan. So it's going to be a good idea to check in with your HR department on what in-service withdrawals look like for your particular plan and if they are something that is offered. Now, depending on your reasoning for the withdrawal, you might be able to get out of that 10% penalty that I mentioned earlier, but you're likely still going to be paying income taxes on the money you take as an in-service withdrawal because, like I said, when you put money into your 401k plan, that's before you pay taxes on it. So when you take it out, that is when that money has to be taxed. So even if you're taking it as an in-service withdrawal, you're still going to be facing income taxes for that transaction in most cases. But now, who can do an in-service withdrawal? You have to be in a particular situation in order for these to be allowed, again, depending on your particular plan. Now, your two main options here are going to be either a hardship withdrawal or an illness-related withdrawal related to the current illness that is going around right now, and this was put in place by the CARES Act. So starting off with the illness-related withdrawals brought around by the CARES Act, if you or a family member has been impacted by the current pandemic, illness, whatever you want to call it, that has been going around, whether they've been sick or whether they have been financially impacted by like losing a job, their business revenue's gone down, etc., you can potentially get an in-service withdrawal if you or a family member has been affected in that particular way. Now, in this case, you'll be able to get around that 10% penalty, but you are still going to be paying income taxes on the money that you take out of your 401k plan. They will, however, let you spread that income tax out over a 3-year period, so you don't have to pay that whole tax bill up front. You're able to actually spread that out because in most cases, this is going to be a pretty significant tax bill for you, might bump you up a tax bracket or two. So having that 3-year time frame to pay those taxes is likely going to be very helpful for you. So those are your pandemic related withdrawals. You've also got hardship withdrawals, and these are kind of your standard in-service withdrawal option. Now, in terms of who can take a hardship withdrawal, there's a pretty specific definition that you have to meet in order to be eligible for one of these. And what this looks like is an immediate and heavy financial need with a limited amount necessary to satisfy it. And essentially what this means is you have a large unexpected expense that you don't have any other way to pay for. This is very important. If you have any other options, you're likely not going to be able to get a hardship withdrawal. But if this is your only ability to make this payment, then that is when you might be eligible for a hardship withdrawal. And some examples of what these significant payments might be are things like medical expenses, a down payment for a home, to prevent an eviction or a foreclosure, in order to pay for a funeral, pay for education, repair your home. So again, things that are very, very crucial to your lifestyle and to maintaining your quality of life. These are not going to be approved for extraneous expenses like going on a vacation, going on a honeymoon. Like you're not gonna be able to get money from a hardship withdrawal for one of those. It really has to be kind of a dire situation where you really need money, and this is the only option available to you. Now, it's important to note that these are going to be given at the discretion of your employer. So you kind of have to go to your HR department and ask them for one of these things, and they have the ability to either approve or deny it based on whether or not they think that a hardship withdrawal is warranted. So that is very important to keep in mind. Additionally, you're going to be paying taxes and penalties on this withdrawal in most cases. So you're likely going to get hit with that 10% penalty, as well as paying income taxes on this hardship withdrawal. So you're really not getting much help in terms of getting around those costs. Now, there's also kind of a third option here called a rollover. So if you're looking to get money out of your plan because you think the fees are too high or the investment options are too limited, one thing you could potentially do is roll over that 401k plan into an IRA, an individual retirement account that you might be able to have more control over, have more flexibility in, and potentially pay less fees in. And if that's the case, if that's why you're trying to get money out of your 401k plan, then what you might be looking at is a rollover. And personally, one of our favorite options for a low cost or really $0 option for this is M1 Finance. So they allow you to roll over your 401k into an M1 Finance IRA account that you're gonna have a lot more flexibility over. Like I said, it's free. So if you want more info on that, we'll have a link down in the description below that you can check out and potentially sign up for an M1 Finance account. If you do so, we may get a small commission in the process at no additional cost to you. So if you do wanna support the channel, using that link is a great way to do that. So overall, it's typically not going to be a great idea to dip into your retirement savings early. With a person's 401k plan being one of the most valuable assets that they are likely to have throughout their life, it's not going to be a very smart decision in most cases to pull money out of here, slow down your growth rate, and really hinder your retirement ability if this isn't the only option that you have available to you in terms of getting funds. However, as a last resort, it's good to know that you likely have some options for withdrawing cash from your 401k plan without quitting your job if you absolutely need to, but just make sure you talk to your HR department to get the ins and outs of your plans and make sure that you don't end up breaking any rules, paying any unnecessary taxes and penalties, because there are some very strict rules that you do have to follow when it comes to 401ks that do differ from plan to plan. Now, if you want to learn more about your options for cashing out your 401k plan without leaving your job, we have a full comprehensive article going on our website, investingsimple.com. The best way to find that is to go to Google, type in, "Can you cash out 401k without quitting your job?" and click on the link for Investing Simple. We will see you over there.